should be good enough. The voltage sensor module is going to go on here like that, and it plugs into the sensor plug there, which is only a centimetre or a couple of centimetres away, so I'm going to have to drastically reduce the length of this cable, or I can just fold it over that. Since I'm making everything else so nice and tidy, I think I'll try and make this nice and tidy as well. So the voltage sensor is going to sit on top there, just like that, stuck down with double-sided tape. This has been made much shorter, so it can just plug in there and not waste any space. And then the actual sense wire for this, which is coming out the side, this is going to have to go to the battery VCC voltage, so I'm just going to solder that and come around under the flight controller and solder onto these couple of little pads there, ground VCC. So here's the main part of everything, all attached to the frame and stuck on with tape and zip ties and all that stuff. I've soldered the ESC wires directly onto there and kept those wires short as well, so it's quite nice and tidy, I think. I used the BLW pass-through, or whatever you call it, where you select the clean swipe as the method in the BLW suite. And boy, that is really easy. I should have tried that before, but I managed to reflash all the ESCs and reverse these two motors, which needed to be reversed. Yeah, that's really great. I should have tried that earlier. So now I'm just going to stick it all together, and I'm going to try this method that I saw again in the Rotorite build video where they're building one of the alien frames, and Chad was using some heat shrink to stick onto the Rio 2 standoff to hold the antennas on there. And it's not going to work quite so nicely with these antennas, because these antennas have this balun or whatever the thing is there, this sort of blocky bit there. So it's quite a nuisance actually when you're trying to do something like this, because it's just not as light, and it means that it's going to make this part of the zip tie keep straight, so it won't be able to bend around quite as easily. But I bent these, I put the hot air gun on them for a bit and bent them around so that it's keeping in a nice sort of a shape like that. So hopefully I won't end up with antennas just sticking up straight parallel to each other like that, which would be not very useful. And on the back of this piece, so the top plate, if you look, get that off. If you look at the back of the back plate there, it doesn't curve around in a corner. There's two sort of flattened off corners that's kind of flattened off. And the idea of that was that these zip ties were supposed to sit there and encourage the zip ties to stay out at 45 degrees or 90 degrees from each other. And with that arrangement like that, I don't know if it's really going to work, but at least that was the intention. Okay, I think we're pretty much done now. Unfortunately, I didn't get these antennas to come out at as much of an angle as I'd hoped for. Like I say, this bit of the base there kind of forces it to become straight. I just wrap it around the zip tie with some ordinary sellotape. But I think that'll be right to fly for a while. Maybe just not go too far away, perhaps. Looking very pretty. Almost don't want to fly it. So I've got the screws out here, you can see, and so the top, I think I probably already said this before, but the top will come off like that, and there'll just be this one connection for the camera and the video transmitter. So that'll be nice to be able to pull that off like that, and then have the rest of it easily accessible to work on. So let me just put that back on again, and I'll show you how much room there is between the top and the bottom, because there's actually plenty of room. And that's it, all done, all tightened up and ready to go flying. We can just see how much it weighs. So it's 350 grams, and some of these screws on the bottom are a few millimeters longer than they need to be. I didn't quite have the right one, so it'll probably be slightly under 350, I think. And I'm quite pleased with how it all went together. So there's actually quite a bit of room in there, probably more room than most of my builds had actually. I'm not sure how that happened, but so I just push this. They're not actually touching the top and the bottom. It's just that little out touching, but I mean they're not pressed against each other. It's just this wire that sort of takes up that slack there. But apart from that, there's quite a bit of space in there. There's almost nothing in there. I could easily put a microphone in there if I wanted to, but I've decided I'm not going to do that for this build. I kind of like being able to hear what's going on around me, just sort of people going around, or when I'm on the farm here, I have to keep an eye out for when the farmer's riding his motorbike around so I don't hit him in the face or anything like that. So I'm not going to have a microphone on. What else was I going to say? Yeah, so just a couple of points that I'm not too, well, it's not a big problem, but like I mentioned here with this screw hole, it would have been nice if that was a bit bigger. Then you could actually put the screw in from this side without having to take this plate off. On the flip side though, once the screw is in there, even if it was to come loose for some reason, it's not going to fall out. And it is quite handy when you're working on it to have the screw being held in from the back rather than falling out every time you pick it up. Because if the nut is not tightened off from this side and you pick it up, it just falls out, which is a bit annoying. What else was there? Oh yeah, and with this 1.5mm plate here, it seems like there's a little bit too much distance between these two pillars. I think it will be fine on the 2mm version, and it was fine on the X220 frame, wherever that's gone. But as it is with this one, you might not be able to see it in the video, but there's just a little bit of flex there. So I'm thinking that if it really hits something hard, that plate there, because it doesn't have the extra reinforcement like the bottom does, the plate on the top might be a little bit susceptible to bending. Other than that, this little cage at the front seems a little bit of movement there on the side, but it doesn't seem like it's enough that it's going to show vibration when you're flying. Yes, I'm talking about you, camera. Anyway, I'll just give it a quick little hopper test inside now. And unfortunately, I just checked the weather forecast, and we have 8 days of rain coming up. We'll see if that actually happens. I'm not sure. but no doubt there'll be a few breaks in the weather where I can just quickly sneak out and try it without getting too wet. So, until weather permits. So it's a couple of days later now, almost, and unfortunately I haven't had a chance to fly outside because the weather has been pretty terrible. It's mostly just raining. I did a little quick hopper test indoors just to check that everything was okay, and initially everything was not okay because I'd forgotten to tell Betaflight that I rotated the flight controller board around 90 degrees. I didn't even check it. I just got a bit complacent, I guess, and didn't even bother to check it was right. So what happens when that rotation is wrong is that as soon as it starts to lift off the ground a little bit and it has some freedom to rotate, it turns into a spinning blur, like just the whole thing is just going over and tumbling around and around like that as quick as it can. And the camera was on here, I kind of forgot that it was on there and it was not fastened on. So it fell off and the drops took a huge bite out of the side of it there, and you can see the SD card and a little bit of button circuitry and stuff inside. All nicely tightly packed on there, isn't it? So it worked okay, which is good. But anyway, the weather coming up is also pretty bloody terrible, to be honest. That's like 8 days of rain, so hopefully that doesn't actually eventuate, but it very well could. So I think we'll just cut this video here. I'm not really expecting it to fly all that differently to the X220 frame anyway. I mean, the layout's the same, it's just a slightly little bit wider wheelbase, and I guess the only thing that will noticeably be different for me anyway is that the camera angle, both camera angles are now exactly the same, so you can maybe see the UV camera down the bottom is lined up just nicely with the HD camera. So the video that I see while I'm flying will be much closer to the video that I get from the HD cam to look at afterwards. Something that I'm not really anticipating to be too different. So I'll just finish up here, and when weather eventually does permit, I'll make another little flight video about this, I suppose, when the time comes. But until then, thanks for watching. I saw this little flying wing kit on Banggood a while ago, so I thought I'd pick it up because it was pretty cheap. It's like $20, I think. Yes, 20. It might have actually been 19 something when I got it. And it looks like they are trying to make something that's quite similar to the Texumo and the Bonsai. So both of those planes are pretty good. This one has a fairly more shallow sweep on the wing, so I'm not sure how that's going to affect the flight. And it's sort of in between the sizes of them. I think Bonsai is 600 millimeters and the Texumo is about 1,000, so it's sort of right in the middle. And they are saying that it is flying weight 165 grams. Somehow I don't think it's going to be quite that light by the time I get done with it. But that is also sort of similar to the Bonsai as well. So it's a little cheaper, just that I would get it and take a look. And you can see they build it up here and put a little pod sort of thing on the top instead of cutting into the wing. So in that respect, it's a little bit like the flight test mini arrow that I made recently. And pictures down there. Doesn't look like too many people have bought this yet. There's one of the two reviews, they both seem to think it's pretty good, so that's a good sign. So I just thought I'd show you what's in the box and then I'll put it together. There is a link to the website here, dwhobby.com, but when I looked at the website, I found that from there, all they have, DW is Dancing Wings, by the way. You can see they've put a save icon file onto the website, but there's absolutely nothing else in there. Even if you look at the page source, there's nothing. So I'm guessing this is a fairly new company, and they're so new that they're, I guess, focusing on making the product instead of making the website. But that is a shame that they don't have something else. I was hoping that they might have something else that was cheap that would be interesting to try as well. Anyway, so what do we get in here? Hang on a minute. If I take it out of the box off camera, that doesn't count as an unboxing, okay? Okay. Right, so this is what you get. There's a pretty nice set of instructions, and this is what they're suggesting you use. There's a vapid fan version as well, which I have to admit I didn't really look into how that differs from this one, but anyway, that's the specs that they are recommending for it. Probably it doesn't even really require much in the way of instructions, but they have given you some pretty nice, colourful photos and everything to show how it works. And the CG is mentioned there. That's about all you really need to know, I guess. So you get the wing pieces and winglets, and then you get a little bit of carbon fibre looking stuff. Oh, sorry, that's heat shrink. And then there's this sort of flat, thin piece of maybe carbon fibre, yeah. 50-30 prop, by the looks of it. Yep. And a big thing of glue, which fortunately is not hardened. Sometimes this stuff arrives and the glue is just a solid block that you can't use, but that one, although it is leaking, still seems like it might be usable. And there are also a couple of the little tie rod things in there, which are also carbon fibre, by the looks of it. So it seems like they want you to use the same method as the Bonsai for connecting the servos to the servo horn on the elevon, which is kind of weird. With the, how you put the heat shrink on and a bit of CA into it and just hope that it stays there. And over here we have what I think is plywood. Yes, that is plywood. Well, you probably can see it, but it's a pretty thin piece of plywood. It looks like 2mm plywood, laser cut and painted black. So I don't know why it really needs to be painted, but I guess it's a nice touch. So let's see what we have in here. Right, so the wings are, that's a grotty, isn't it? Not sure what happened there, but the dye is on there anyway. Mostly white on the bottom, then you've got this sort of rainbowy, I guess, colour pattern on the top. The servo cutouts are not going all the way through, and they're quite shallow. I think the instructions recommend to use a 6-gram servo, which I don't have any of, but I think a 9-gram servo will be fine. And there is a spar along the front leading edge of the wing. Feels a little bit softer than the bonsai and texture motor spine, although maybe it's about the same. And it looks like it's not quite a symmetrical section here, but it's not far away.